Hello and welcome to Noninkables. We're on episode number 10 of season 2. Me just kind of documenting my journey through Lorcana. I did actually record an episode last week, and it was basically just me being very undecided about what deck I would play. And I felt like I said a whole lot of nothing. And so I didn't upload it. But because I didn't play in any tournaments or anything, and it was just like me being indecisive. So that is why there was no episode last week. This past week, though, because Set 7 was released, I did a ton of stuff, which is very exciting. Okay, for me anyways. So Set 7 was released on Friday, March 7th, and this new set is so fun. So last week we played at a Constructed on Thursday. And for that constructor, was at VPC, they let us use proxies for Set 7 cards. And that was very fun. And then on Friday, we played it in a sealed event. And then on Sunday, we played it in a sealed event. And I had like very different experiences at the two sealed events. And then in terms of the YouTube channel, I finished and released all of the remaining parts of the comprehensive rules. So that is completely up on the channel. I think the only thing that's not up is like the glossary, which I'll probably post sometime this week. But it's like just like definitions that are at the end that you talk about while you're going through the whole rules anyway. So I feel like it's very supplementary. And yeah, so okay. I also opened, let's just go, I guess, chronological order. So Thursday we played at VPC and they let us use Set 7 cards. You could bring proxies. So I had printed out proxies for me and Brian to use. So I made complete use of my color printer. This is like glossy sticker paper. And so I basically printed them out 9 to a sheet, and then you cut it out like very close to where the picture ends, and it fits really well onto like a bulk card. So I think I saved some. So like for example, this is a Pete. Can you see it? Let me see if I can adjust the light a little bit. Block out my face so it does the P card. Yeah, this is a Pete. So I feel like these look pretty good for proxies. So we used that. One of our friends, Kevin, he drew proxies. And he was like talking about how he drew them. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he like showed them to me and they were really good. So I'm going to put a picture probably here of the proxies. They're super cute. I was like, wow, these are way better than I thought they would be. He drew proxies for Belle and for Tamatoa. And then he drew like one enchanted Tamatoa. And then he was like, this is too much work. And then so the other ones, he just drew like little crabs. It was super cute. But I played a blue steel, but I didn't play Kiwi Birds. I played a deck that Tyler has been working on. I think he's updated it since I played it. And I had like some pretty bad luck in it. So first round, I played Meg, who's new and had just like recently learned the game and was playing red purple with a deck Ben and I think Tegan helped them make. And I think a pretty standard red purple with like library and remains and stuff. And I think rabbits, I remember. But instead of like Flynn Sisu, there was like Lumiere on 2. And I won those 2 games. So I was on the draw first and I won, and I was on the play second and won. But like also, no, I feel like it's not really, you shouldn't really brag if you beat somebody who just started playing the game. And then the second round, I mashed into Jesmian, who plays hyper aggro, as always. And I have never bricked so hard in my entire life, like, how long I've been playing Lorcana for? Like a year now. So picture this, right? I'm playing Sapphire Steel. I know that she is playing some sort of hyper aggro, probably yellow purple. So I'm on the play. I get my opening hand and I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep a Fire the Cannons because I probably need it. And then I'll keep a Bell. That way, in case I draw an item, I have that Bell on board. And then if not, like it's always ink, right? I mulligan 5 cards. I draw. They're all uninkable. I get like, I think And along came Zeus, 2 grab your swords, like a dime maybe. I don't even remember. It was just literally all uninkable cards. So turn 1, I ink the bell because that is the only ink I have in my hand, and I pass. I think she plays like a Lilo. Turn 2, I play a Fire the Cannons. Oh, I think I drew into another Fire the Cannons. I don't draw any ink, so I pass. So I'm at 1 ink after turn 2 in a ramp deck. She plays like a Maleficent and a Leo. Turn 3, I think I ink something. So I'm at 2 ink now on turn 3, and I play the other Fire the Cannons. Pass. She plays a bunch of stuff. Turn 4, I think I drew something that I could ink, so I'm at 3 ink now. And I play, I don't even know, like a Peach or something, maybe like a character or a Smee. I play something, and then I pass. And then I think she's already at like double digits and more. Turn 4, or that was turn 4. Turn 5, I think I got ink because I got to 4 ink, and then I don't remember what I play. And then literally I still have like no ink in my, I think I along came Zeus to Lilo, and then I pass. And then I think the next turn, I have grab your swords in my hand, right? So I'm like, if I draw ink, I'll survive another turn. I draw a Chicha. So I was like, okay, I lose. Next. And that was on the play. So on the draw, already kind of difficult. On the draw, I don't think I get, I think it's like turn 1, ink and pass. Turn 2, ink and pass. Or something crazy. Because I didn't get lore. I didn't get any lore until she was at 8 or 14 lore already. So it was just bad news bears for me. I didn't get that bell shift. Didn't really get anything small to play. And I was like, what the heck is up with this hand? So that was round 1. Or no, that was round 2. And then, let me see. What did I play? I think round 3. Oh, who did I play? Did I play Brian? I didn't write it down, which is my bad. Let's see. Round 3, I played... Nope, Brian got the bye, per usual. Oh, I played Tegan. Tegan was playing Kiwi Birds, but I think she had edited it a little bit so that it had other cards in it. I don't remember which ones. And I got murdered. She won the first game when I was on the play. I only got to 2 lore, and she won the second game when I was on the draw, and I only got to 1 lore. And yeah, it was very, very bad. And I feel like those 2, I also like just bricked super hard. I like didn't see any cards that draw cards. It was just, I think the problem was I wasn't shuffling enough. And when I was playing the first game, I had kind of like put my items together in my discard so they were all together. And then I didn't shuffle enough or like spread them out. And so then when I remember when I played Tegan, I had like multiple Hurums. I just had no items at all. So yeah, lost pretty badly. And I was like, maybe there's too many grab your swords in this deck. But other than that, like I played the deck before and I was playing it online for a bit and it was fine online. So I think really the issue was just me not shuffling enough. So that was Thursday. Friday, I specifically scheduled myself not to work so that I could open boxes. I bought 2 cases from DVY and I opened them. I recorded one of them, but I was having I don't know why. I was having such technical difficulties with the cameras and stuff. And I will have to look through that video to see if it's even worth posting. And then I think I recorded a bunch of the rest of the cards as like shorts for the daily shorts. And I ended up getting 2 enchanted Donald Ducks, which that is like the normal enchanted rate, 1 per case. But for me, I'm used to more. And so I felt disappointed. I also felt disappointed because of 2 of the same enchanted. Look at this. I don't need 2 of these. Also, what? I don't know if he's playable. At least not right now. I mean, the art is really, really cool. I do really like the art. But I don't know. I wish I'd gotten a Tamatoa, of course, but maybe just 2 different enchanteds. But I guess I shouldn't complain. And then from those 2 cases, we got 3 Tamatoas, so 2 non-foil and 1 foil. And I don't know why, but it feels like in the past, if I opened 2 cases, I would have a pretty good spread in terms of like having all my commons and uncommons and then like a lot of the rares and stuff. And this time it seems like not. And I don't know if it's because the dual inks changed the ratio of cards. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. But I feel like a lot of people have had problems getting Tamatoas like in their boxes. So yeah, so I did that Friday, and then Friday night. So there were two release events happening at the same time. And in last week's podcast that I didn't post, I was like on the fence about which one I wanted to go to. So DVY was having a starter deck tournament. It was like only, I think, $23. And I had talked to Davey, and who's the owner of DVY, and he said like he wasn't making like very much money per person on that, maybe like $3, but like it's a release event and he wants to like build up the community and stuff. So I was deciding between that one, and then the pricing was pretty, I think it was like pack per win, and then the top person got like a trove. And I was like, oh, I kind of want a trove. And then the other option was Phantomich, which was $35 for sealed. And then it was like if you went 3-0, you would get 5 packs. If you went 0 or 1 round win, you would get 1 pack. And if you got 2 round wins, you would get 3 packs. And so we ended up deciding to go to Phantomich. The whole team went to Phantomich, actually. Tyler was like, oh, I want to go to Phantomich because I want to play sealed. I don't want to play starter deck. And then I think the rest of us kind of felt similarly, that sealed was more fun. But then I was also like, oh, maybe I should go to the starter deck because then I can't like mess up the deck as much. Whereas in sealed, I could definitely mess up the deck a lot. But I was like, no, I should go to sealed because it's like a better way to learn. And I also want to like support Phantomich because they are the reason why I even started playing competitively. Back in set 3, they had a seal that was like $30. And then Brian basically convinced me to go because it was a good deal. Because he was like, okay, well, $30 covers the price of the packs. And then anything you win, and it was like pack per round win, is like free cards. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll go. And then everyone ended up being super nice and not like crazy competitive like I thought they were going to be. And so then I was like, oh, maybe I could compete some more. And then, of course, the Games of Martinez set champs happened where I won, and I was like, oh, this is fun. I like winning. And then at that time, like packs were pretty hard to get. I feel like we are still looking for, like, I was like stalking Hot Topic and Box Lunch and Best Buy and Barnes and Noble for packs. And so it's like a way to get packs. And I feel like nowadays I'm always trying to get like packs under MSRP, but at that time I was like, I'll pay MSRP for packs because they're just so hard to get. So I want to support Phantomich because they're kind of the ones who started me on this journey, and I like them. And so yeah, we decided to go to Phantom. My sealed pulls were horrendous. So I had almost exclusively 2 and 3 drop cards. I think I had like maybe like 6 4-drop cards and like 2 5-drop cards and like 3 6-drop cards, but 2 of them were uninkable and like very conditional. And then I had like, I remember I had a Lyle Tiberius Rourke. I had the Mufasa shift, and I had the Bell shift. And I think I put unconventional tool just in case I could do like the Bell thing, but it didn't actually work out. I was able to shift Mufasa like one time. I still lost the game though. And so that one was best of 3. We played 3 rounds. First round, I played Daniel, and I won the die roll. And the first game was super close. So it was literally like I was at 13, he was at 18, and then I was at 18. And then I think I could win next turn, but he had lethal, and I couldn't get rid of his board. But it was like super, super close. And then the second game I was on the play because I lost, and I lost pretty bad. It was 5-20. And then the second round I played against Brian. We played 3 games. First, I won the die roll. First game I was on the play, and did I win that one? I think I lost. I lost that one. And at one point in that game, he was able to play 3 coils against me. So he had Amber Coil, Emerald Coil, and Sapphire Coil, which was crazy. So he would like ink a card, and he'd be like, okay, I'm going to heal this one. I'm going to reduce the damage. the strength of this character of yours and attack it. And then I'm going to make this one evasive so you can't like attack me back. And I was just like, okay, cool. Great. The second game I lost. I think maybe the second game I won. I don't know. I think I may have written, maybe the first game I won and the second game I lost. No, the first game I definitely lost because I was on the play the second game. So the second game I won, it looks like, by the way I wrote this, that like he got to 18 and I kind of just held him there. And then the last game, what did I write? Looks like I wrote Smit Mufasa. That doesn't make sense. Maybe I wrote Steel Mufasa? I don't even know. But that game I won, but I think it was very, very, very close. And then the last round, who did I play against? I didn't play. I was trying to play against Jack. So Jack and I have played in many tournaments together, but we've never played each other ever. And so like at NorCal TCG, we were trying to play each other. We were like, okay, we have the same record. Maybe we'll play each other. At this one, we had the same record, and I was like, maybe we'll play against each other, but we didn't. Oh, I played against Kyo, whose real name, I think it's Kiyoshi, maybe? And he beat me. It's like 14-20 and 11-20. And his deck had a lot of big, big butts. So in the end, the standings, Tyler was number 1, Daniel was number 2, Kiyoshi was number 3, and then Gary was 4, 5 was Jack, I was 6, Brian was 7, and then Living Silver, whose real name I always forget, was 8. And so, yeah, I was like, this was I feel like the sealed for this set is very fun because normally like the sets have a lot of vanilla cards that don't have like special abilities. In this set, everything has special abilities because usually when I make sealed, I will be like, oh, I just want to include all the cards that have special abilities. But this time they all do. So it's kind of hard to decide what to put in. So that was Friday. And then afterwards, we went to Nations and had a little like dinner with everyone. I'll put a picture here of all of us looking so cute at Nations. And then Saturday, we didn't do anything. And then Sunday, we played sealed at Games of Berkeley. And it was kind of like a last minute decision of whether or not we would play. I think it was like $40. And then online it had said best of 1, but we ended up playing best of 3. And it was sponsored by Jesbian, so it was awesome. So there were like snacks, there was like Pringles and Nutri-Grain bars and Easter cookies and like Gatorade and like LaCroix. Those were all free. And then the prizing was pack per round win. And then for every game win you had, you got to spin the wheel and you could win like a raffle ticket or a sticker or like a temporary tattoo or a notebook. And then because it was per game win, so even if you lost like 1, 2 for that round, you would still be able to spin at least once. We ended up not winning anything from the raffle. I think I got like an Olaf sticker and Brian got like a Belle temporary tattoo. And then in that one, round 1, I played Andre, who was literally learning to play the game as we were playing. Like, I was like, okay, so first things first, we have to shuffle our decks. Now we will roll to see who goes first. Now you can pick 7 cards, and then you decide which ones you want to keep and which ones you want to like trade out. It was literally like that. And I beat him, but also like my draws, stuff I got in sealed for Berkeley were so much better than the sealed for Phantom Itch. Like I had a bunch of like big butts, right? Like 4 cost, 5 cost, 6 cost, 7 cost characters. Whereas like at Phantom, I feel like I was basically running like a item deck that was not optimized for items. At Berkeley, I was able to run like a puppy deck / evasive / big butts deck. So I had 3 peppers, which is like when one of your puppies gets Spanished, it goes into your inkwell. I had Pongo, I had Rhino, I had what's his name? The human dad guy of the Dalmatians, where he like heals your puppies. And then I also had the puppy, I think it's Lucky, that like when you play this, they get minus attack. So I had all those. I had canine crunchies. So I had all those cards for the puppy portion, and then I had so many evasives. So like against Andre, I think I went turn 1, I played Toulouse, which is whatever. Turn 2, I played Diablo, the evasive one. Turn 3, I played Perla, evasive. Turn 4, I played Moana, evasive. And I felt so bad because he was like, oh, I want to challenge, I want to attack this character. And I was like, you can't, it's evasive. I also had Iago, evasive, 4/6. He's a vanish character, but like there's not that many things I can target in set 6. So he just overstatted and stayed forever. And so I felt like my deck was very good. I also had 2 Thunderbolts. So that has the puppy shift, which is great for my puppy deck. What else? I had Mad Hatter, which draws cards. I had the Li Shang, which attacks ready characters, and he's like a 4/3 until he gets damaged. I had Dr. Calico, which has resist 2 until he gets damaged. I had so many good cards. So second round, oh, who did I play? I played a girl. I was like, I played a girl, but who did I play? But she remembered me from 88 Card House when we played in the set champs there. Let's see, round two. I played against Tiffany, and I won both of those games on the draw. And I think I got like an Iago out on turn 4, and she was like, what the heck? Why is it a 4/6? And I was like, I don't know. And it was kind of crazy. And then I think that was the game. I definitely shifted a Thunderbolt into one of my games against her. I can't remember if that's the game I got the Pongo. Nope, that was the next round. Yeah, but that one I won 2-0. And then the third round I played against Sky. And the first game I was on the draw, and I lost. So he was at 9 lore before I got to 1. And then I ended up at 8 when he won. The second game I was on the play and I won, and surprisingly won, because that game I didn't have a 1 or 2 drop to play. But I think that game I was able to get the puppy Pongo stuff to work. So like I had a Pongo in hand and it's uninkable, right? So I know I'm going to play it eventually. And I had puppies in my hand. So I just started inking all my puppies. And then when you play Pongo, it's like at the start of your turn, you can play a puppy from your ink for free. And so I would play like Pepper from my ink for free, and then Pepper would get banished and go back into my ink. And then the next turn I would play the same Pepper for free. And yeah, that whole synergy just really popped off. And I was like, ooh, this puppy deck, it might be on to something. So that was cool. And I just never quested with Pongo. And then the last game I was on the draw and I won in turns. And so in that game, I think I was able to get a bunch of big butts. I think also, okay, so there were some misplays on both of our sides. So a misplay that I noticed that he did was he had Pacha, which is like, if you have more cards in your hand, this character quests for 3 instead of 1. And if I didn't know what his hand was, but if I were him, I would have like quested with Pacha after I drew my card and then ink and then play something, right? Whereas I think he played like a steel coil and then ink to draw and discard a card. And then instead of questing with Pacha, he sang with Pacha. And then there was another turn where he had a Yzma. No, I think that one he played right. So he had Yzma, he drew a card, he had more cards than me. So he attacked with Yzma first, so it went back to his hand. And then he did other stuff, right? And then my misplay was he had a Cusco on board. No, he had a Kronk on board, which is a 4/4. And I had a Li Shang. And I totally forgot that Li Shang can attack ready characters. Part of it was because at that time, like, I felt like time was running out because he played really slow. Like, he thought a lot every turn. And that was like the end of the day, and I could feel my brain struggling to focus. And then at that time, like, Tegan came around and like passed out packs for a pack per win, and then like put the one in the middle for whoever won that round. And I was definitely distracted, and also like more people were standing around watching because we were technically the top table, even though we weren't like the top. And so I definitely got distracted, forgot that Li Shang has that ability, and so didn't attack his Kronk because it wasn't exerted. And I think I like quested instead. And that was definitely a misplay on my part and made the game a lot closer than it should have been. However, I had like such card advantage. I think I sang to This Is My Family, so that lets you draw a card and get a lore. And also at one point he had a Cusco, which is like at the beginning of your turn, you can both draw a card or discard a card, and he chose draw a card. And I was already on the draw, so I had more cards anyways. And then I did have some cool, I would say some cool moves, some cool combos. So I had a Mother Gothel on board. So she lets you, when you challenge, you can move a damage counter. And so I would attack stuff with the Li Shang, and then I would move the damage counter off of Li Shang to something else, right? And then I would attack twice and then move both off of Li Shang, and then he's all of a sudden healed again. So then he's a 4-2, 4-3 again instead of a 2-3. So that was pretty cool combo. And then I think when we got to turns, on turn 3, I had the option of either he had a Lady Cluck on board 2/7, a Sven on board 2/7 with some damage. I had, I think, like Mad Hatter and I don't remember. I had a bunch of stuff on board. But I had the option, I had like 3 or 4 cards in hand. I had the option of either trying to control his board. I think he was at 10 lore at the time. I was at 7. Or my other option would be to quest. I think I could either play, I'd already played the Mad. I could either play like a big butt, or I could and like control his board, or the other option I had was to quest and then play bodyguard. And I ended up deciding to quest and then play the Thunderbolt because he only had Lady Cluck and the Sven, which are both 2/7s, so they couldn't get rid of the Thunderbolt because he's like a 3/7. And then I knew that it was already turn 3, so I had to win the turn after that. And if I didn't quest, I wouldn't have, like, I quested and got to 13. I wouldn't have been able, I quested and I think I sang that this is my family. So if I didn't do that, I knew I wouldn't be able to win the next turn. And so I was like, okay, he can't get rid of Thunderbolt, and then I just quest with everybody. And the only way he would be able to prevent me from winning is if he could get rid of Thunderbolt. So he would need to have a Jafar to give somebody challenger, but that probably, I think Jafar only gives 2 challengers, so that wasn't enough. Or if he had something that like you can banish a damaged character or something like that. And so I was like, oh, this is a good decision. Yay. Big brain thoughts from me. Because I think in the past I would always try to play control, but I was like, no, we're in turns. I need to win or have more lore, you know? I feel like I'm still kind of being informed by LCQ where I lost in turns. So yeah, it was super fun. So I was undefeated that day. So that was really cool. The other cool thing was Brian drew a Tamatoa in his sealed packs. And so now we have a full play set of Tamatoa. Just one though. And luckily, he's not going to play Blue Steel. So I am free to use the Tamatoas. Thank goodness. But like, our plan is to get 2 play sets because that's what we do for all the cards. But I don't want to pay $60 for a non-foil Tamatoa. I haven't even looked at what the enchanted price is. Probably something insane. So yeah. Oh, there was a post like while we were at the seal that I saw later after they had filled, is that like this weekend, I think in Sacramento, they're hosting a tournament to win an enchanted, and that filled up super fast. But yeah, so that was my experience. So I think sealed this set is super fun to play. I think there's a lot of combos that can happen. And of course, like if your pulls are good, obviously that's better, but like they're not, you can still do some crazy combo-y stuff. So that's pretty fun. And I think we have some cases that are going to get shipped out once it's like past big box date. And so I think when we get those, maybe we might play sealed just like at home. But we also have this tournament coming up that we signed up for that's like a hybrid tournament that is organized by Josie, who is up in Sacramento, I think. And it's like a regional Bay Area tournament. So there are 4 pods. I think it's South Bay, East Bay, 2 East Bay pods, and then North Bay. And so we're part of East Bay 2. And then East Bay 1 is the one with Ed. So North American champion Ed is in that one. So I'm happy that we're not in the same pod as him. I also, to be honest, have not read the rules yet. I will. But I think because there's a couple people in our locals who are in it. And so from talking to them, it seems like maybe 4 people from each pod make it out. And then they do like bracket style to crown the winner. I don't know what we win, but it was like $15 entry. And then all that money goes towards prizing. And the goal is like the pods are regional so that hopefully you can play in person with people. And then after that, it can be online. So that's why it's like a hybrid tournament. So I'm pretty excited about that. I have to figure out what deck to play. So I have been testing more decks. So I did try out Zan's item deck with Oswald. I tried it out on Ink Table and I tried it out against Brian. He's playing green steel and I could not beat him. We did try to play, I think we tried to play it on Lord Canito recently, and it is so buggy right now. We couldn't even like click to be ready when we tried yesterday. So we'll probably just play in person more. And then, so I'm thinking about that deck versus like a more standard blue steel deck that's like regular. And then I was also just like browsing decks. So I briefly tried a deck that I found that had Mama Odie in it, which I think it's a fun deck. So it's like, okay, so it has like the usual, and I don't remember who made it, unfortunately. I think it was maybe Boba. So it has like Belle, obviously, Popsicle, Fortisphere, Fishbone Quill. It also has like Captain Hook, Lady Cluck, Mama Odie, Mr. Speed, Mufasa, Pete, Tinkerbell, Giant Fairy. And then it has for songs, Let the Storm Rage On, usual, Strength of Raging Fire, usual, One Jump Ahead, I'm Still Here, All Is Found, and A Whole New World. So essentially what you do is you just ramp a bunch and then you sing a bunch of songs. Mufasa is crazy in that deck. And so it was pretty fun to play, but I don't think it is like good into all decks, and it definitely wasn't good into green steel. And then now I'm currently testing like a deck I saw on Forbidden Mountain that's also blue steel, but like I guess a little bit different than the regular one. And I think I picked it because it's called like Turn 4 Crab or something like that. I think, actually, no, that's not the one I picked. I picked a deck to try literally because it was called Crab Rave. But this Forbidden Mountain deck, I think Brian sent to me to try out just to like try something new. And so I think Sapphire Steel is really good and I don't mind playing Sapphire Steel, but I don't want to play Kiwi Birds. I don't know why, just when I play it, it's not super fun for me. I think maybe because last set I played Green Steel, which was like tons of decisions, and prior to that we played Items, which was tons of decisions, and I feel like Red Purple set 4 was like a lot of decisions and stuff, and like so I'm used to making like a ton of thinking of like many decisions, and I feel like with Kiwi Birds it's a little more streamlined in terms of what you play. Like there's still decisions, but like there's not as many cool combo-y things, and I want to play cool combo-y things. I also am still struggling, as I do every set, literally I feel like every day of my life, between playing a meta deck and a super fun deck. Like in my head I'm still like, ooh, maybe I want to play Puppies, like especially after my sealed experience. I was like, oh, Puppies was kind of killer and like really good. Maybe I want to play Puppies, and I want to play a theme deck. So yeah, I still struggle with that. I feel like daily. And then I did also look at playing maybe Purple Steel. And I was reading JDRR's guide for Purple Steel because it's one free. And it was like, basically like one of the lines about, and it was like, oh, this is like a very fair deck. And so like the way you win is by piloting it better. So versus like high rolling. So like versus like being lucky, you just have to like be really good at piloting. And I was like, but I'm not that good at piloting. And like Tyler was like, oh, well, if you play Purple Steel, like it'll really hone your skills. And then in my head, I'm like, okay, but it also expose my weaknesses, which I realized would be a good learning experience. But also like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I want to play a deck that is at least like a little bit maybe luck based, like luck will get me further. I don't know. And so, yeah, I did also try, okay, so like last week, this would have been on the podcast last week. I tried so many decks to see if there was like some cool deck I could play that was not Kiwi Birds. So I tried green steel, obviously. I tried a red purple burn deck. I tried a amber steel just in time Mufasa deck. I tried a hyper aggro deck. I tried like several Mushu decks. Basically, I was just running everything in Ink table against Kiwi Birds, and I'm like, okay, if I can beat Kiwi Birds against the AI, then this deck is maybe okay. And all of those decks failed. And I was like, okay, I guess not. I guess I will probably have to play like a Sapphire something deck unless I want to play Green Steel again, but I kind of don't. And so, yeah, that is where I am. And within that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to play Sapphire Steel probably, or maybe red, like red blue. But then, like, do I want to just net deck, aka take a deck from online, or do I want to make my own deck? Or do I want to take a deck online and tinker with it and possibly make it worse? So undecided. I don't know what I'm going to play. This is the same as last week where I was like, I don't know what I'm going to play. So yeah, that is where I'm at. I do probably should read the rules for this tournament that we are in because I think it starts soon, maybe in like a week. Yeah. So maybe in about a week, I will have a decision. And luckily, I think in Swiss, they said that you can change what deck you're playing. And then once you get into the bracket portion, then you're locked into your deck. So we'll see. And also, like, can Lorcana Burger, can they please announce set champ dates, worlds, not LCQs, DLCs? Because the girls got a plan and we don't know when anything is. And it's kind of like, I want to know. I want to know when the big things are so I can plan, so I can go to them. And you're making it very difficult. So, yeah, that is where I'm at. I love Sealed this set. I don't know what deck I'm going to play. We are signed up for a tournament where I will have to decide soon. And yeah, that's where I'm at. And hopefully in the future weeks, I will have at least a deck decided on, and I will let you know of how my results are and anything I've learned. This week on the channel, I think probably I'll be releasing some like card opening stuff, either in shorts or as like a actual full video. And then my plan, at least, is to record some of the Chinese card stuff because I have been taking notes. Okay, so this is kind of silly. I want to show this off. I feel like I'm back in school. I was like, oh, I can use my notebook. I've basically been looking up the words I don't know, writing them on the side with their definition, the pronunciation, and any fun facts, kind of incorporating what my dad was telling me about, like how he would rewrite some of the stuff. And literally every page. I've done all of Amber, so making progress. I do feel like I'm back in school. I think my father is happy that I am re-engaging with the Chinese language more, besides just like TikTok and Duolingo. And a little background, I did go to Chinese school until senior year of high school every Saturday. And I mean, a lot of the people I meet who are Chinese say that my Chinese is pretty good for having grown up in the US because I moved to the US when I was 4. And I credit that to watching Huanzu Guge, which is like this TV drama. It was like 3, I don't know if they would really be seasons, but like 3 series worth. Like there was like a kind of like the Aladdin franchise, I suppose, like 1, 2, and 3. But like each series, I suppose, is like hundreds of episodes long. So I would always watch that, and it always has like subtitles on the bottom. And then also for karaoke, I wanted to read karaoke subtitles, and so that was like how I used my Chinese. And then in college I was going to continue with Chinese, and I signed up for Chinese, and I like did the online placement test. I think I placed into like level 4. First day of class, the teacher told me I was pronouncing my name wrong, which rude. I should be one, I was not pronouncing my name wrong. She just wanted me to pronounce it with like a Beijing accent, and neither of my parents are from Beijing, so I don't use that accent. I wasn't going to add an extra R to the end of my name when it's not there. And also she said we were going to do traditional, and I was like, I've spent my entire life learning simplified. I'm not learning traditional. That seems like way too much work, so I dropped it. And then the next semester I took Italian for my language credit. Yeah. And so that kind of ended my official Chinese studies. And For those of you who don't know, like all of China, mainland China, went to simplify it, I think in like the 60s, like along with like the Cultural Revolution and stuff. And it's basically like a different font. So there's like traditional Chinese, which is like what all the calligraphy is in, what it was written before. And then in the 60s, they were like, oh, let's make some of the words easier to write, less strokes. And so they made simplified Chinese. So literally, like if you are typing on a computer, you can just change the font from simplified to traditional, and like the meanings are the same. It's like literally the same word. It's just a different font. It's like if you were to translate your stuff from like calligraphy to like Times New Roman kind of, or maybe like Webdings to Times New Roman. It's not that different, but it's like pretty similar. And usually if you read one of them, you can kind of like, you can figure out the other easily enough. But all of China, mainland China, went to simplified. The people who still use traditional are like Taiwan still uses traditional. And I think like some regions, I know the people who live like in Chinatown in Oakland, they use traditional still because they like left China prior to the simplification. And so I was like, I don't want to learn that. I don't care that much. And also like everyone here looks like they're like native Chinese and they're taking this for an easy A, which makes it feel like it's going to be a very hard A for me. And so I dropped that so fast, like literally walked out of the class and was like, drop immediately. Yeah. So yeah. And the Lorcana cards are in simplified Chinese. And oh, this is kind of an aside, but we were talking about this at one of the sealed events, like how to tell the difference between Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, specifically like Japanese Lorcana cards and Chinese Lorcana cards. And I was like, okay, so Chinese is like lines, slashes, right? It's very complicated looking. Japanese is like that, but then there are also some parts that are just like two dots or like two slashes. So it's like complicated plus some like simple stuff. And then Korean is the one with circles. And actually, we were looking, I had a deck on me that had both a Chinese, so a little pivot onto a little Asian language Asian language class. This is the regular Friends on the Other Side, right? So the English version. This is the Japanese one. Turns out it also has English on it. It says Friends on the Other Side. And then above it has the Japanese writing. And then this one is the Chinese one. So if you look at these two, the Chinese one, I would say, looks very complicated with like lots of strokes and stuff. And like the Japanese one, which is like up here, is like a lot simpler. There's some like curvy. So Chinese almost, especially the font that they picked, it never has like, it won't have like a circle. Whereas like the Japanese definitely has like, look, there's like a circle, there's like a little arrow thing. It's just like dots, slashes, arrows, I would say, like parts of triangles. And they've used like the phonetic alphabet on these cards. And then like if you look at the translation, like the words down here, there's like some of that looks very similar to this. And then there's some that are like more complicated. And those are actually Chinese characters. So a little history. So Japanese has like multiple writing systems. There is a phonetic alphabet. There is kanji, which is essentially Chinese characters. And then sometimes they will mix the two. So they'll have like some Chinese characters and some like phonetic stuff. So like when I visited Japan, I was like, oh, I can read like a lot of the signs because they're in Chinese. Unfortunately, I don't know what the name of Japanese cities are in Chinese. So it was not that helpful for me, but like exit was super easy and that kind of stuff. And so Japanese will often have like some of their phonetic alphabet with some of the kanji or like Chinese characters essentially together. And so to me, it's like, well, I guess to me, like the Chinese characters I recognize. So I'm just like, okay, that's the complicated stuff. And the Japanese will be like complicated with some like symbols that I don't recognize that are usually like a little bracket or like a little dash dash or like a swirl, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that is it for me for this week's edition of the podcast. Next week, we don't have any planned stuff yet in terms of competing or any competitions. I think unless the hybrid tournament starts this week, but I think it starts next week, but I'm not 100% sure. So either that will be happening or not. And hopefully I will have decided on a deck because currently I have like 5 decks built with a lot of proxy tomatoes in them. So yeah, that is it for me. Let me know what you guys are playing. What are you cooking? Are there any like cool decks that will beat Sapphire Steel that are not also Sapphire Steel and doesn't die to aggro, yeah, let me know. And as always, keep shuffling. Hopefully you don't end up with a whole handful of non-inkables like me. All right, bye.